Colleges Foundation Incorporated, your business ethics teacher. So for today, we will be going to discuss the core fairness, accountability, and transparency.
A company which applies the core principles of good corporate governance, fairness, accountability, and transparency will usually outperform other companies and will be able to attract investors whose support can help to finance further growth. But what do we mean by a corporate governance? So corporate governance is the system by which businesses are directed and controlled. Good corporate governance is a key factor in underpinning the integrity and efficiency of a company. Poor corporate governance can weaken a company's potential. It can lead to financial difficulties and in some cases can cause long-term damage to a company's reputation. Let's define them. So what is fairness? Fairness is concerned with actions, processes, and consequences that are morally right, honorable, and equitable. Fairness refers to equal treatment. It is also the quality of making judgments that are free from discrimination. So for example, all shareholders should receive equal consideration for whatever shareholdings they hold. In addition to shareholders, there should also be fairness in the treatment of all stakeholders including employees, communities, and public officials. The fairer the entity appears to the stakeholders, the more likely it is that it can survive the pressure of interested parties. Fairness in the context of a business organization involves balancing the interests involved in all decision making, including any decisions related to hiring, firing, including the investigatory process, and the compensation and rewards system. In other words, fairness or equity can be subjective. What one person sees as unfair may be perfectly appropriate for another. In general, people see allocations or procedures favoring themselves as fair. Overall, fairness has to do with justice, which is to give to another that which is due to him or her. More concretely, justice looks at the balance of benefits and burdens distributed among members of a group and or can result from the application of rules, policies, or laws that apply to a society or a group. In general, the just results of actions override utilitarian results. Now, let's move on to accountability. Accountability, it is about being responsible to someone for actions taken, about being able to explain, clarify, and justify actions. It is also refers to the obligation and responsibility to give an explanation or reason for the company's actions and conduct. Accountability is the most important aspect of prevention and detection of corruption. A civil society organization without proper accountability systems is fragile and open to rumors about mismanagement and abuse of power. Worst of all, it will prevent it from enjoying respect and full legitimacy in the eyes of its stakeholders, including those duty bearers whom it intends to engage with advocacy. In other words, accountability is to be accountable, is to be liable to explain or justify one's actions and decision. It is also the process of explanation and justification. It is also holding to account is the process of requiring explanation and justification, but it is also about testing, forming a judgment, and if necessary, taking action. Accountability implies responsibility. It is reasonable only to hold people to account for those things for which they are responsible. Let's move on now. Transparency. So transparency means openness, a willingness by the company to provide clear information to shareholders and other stakeholders. Stakeholders should be informed about the company's activities, what it plans to do in the future, and any risk involved in its business strategies. So, for example, transparency refers to the openness and willingness to disclose financial performance figures which are truthful and accurate. Disclosure of material matters concerning the organization's performance and activities should be timely and accurate to ensure that all investors have access to clear, factual information which accurately reflects the financial, social, and environmental position of the organization. Organizations should clarify and make publicly known the rules and responsibilities of the board and management to provide shareholders with a level of accountability. Transparency ensures that stakeholders can have confidence in the decision-making and management process of a company. Strong corporate governance maintains investors' confidence, whose support can help to finance further growth. Companies who implement the principles of a good corporate governance into working environment life will ensure corporate success and economic growth. They are the basis on which companies can grow. So let's move on now to the next topic, which is the notions of competence, professionalism, and responsibility. Studies show that moral character and technical competence are viewed as being equally important for worker excellence. The greater the need to engage with coworkers who have different values, interests, and needs, the more important it becomes for employees to be able to connect with colleagues, to understand different perspectives, to balance sometimes conflicting claims, and to act competently both interpersonally and ethically. In order to do that, a responsible worker needs a minimum set of skills as well as moral and relational qualities according to Whetstone of 2003. So the following are the minimum competencies expected of professionals. So the first competence is what we call the technical skills. So it encompasses the ability to apply specialized knowledge or expertise. According to Robinson Judge of 2013, when you think of the skills of professionals such as civil engineer or oral surgeons, you typically focus on the technical skills they have learned through extensive formal education. Of course, professionals do not have a monopoly on technical skills, and not all technical skills have to be learned in schools or other formal training programs. All jobs require some specialized expertise, and many people develop their technical skills on the job. The second competence is what we call the human skills. So it is the ability to understand, communicate with, motivate, and support other people, both individually and in groups. So many people are technically proficient, but poor listeners, unable to understand the needs of others, or weak at managing conflicts. Because managers get things done through other people, they must have good human skills. The last competence is what we call the conceptual skills. So it is the skills and the mental ability that managers must have to analyze and diagnose complex situations. So decision making, for instance, requires managers to identify problems, develop alternative solutions to correct those problems, evaluate those alternative solutions, and select the best one. After they have selected a course of action, managers must be able to organize a plan of action and then execute it. The ability to integrate new ideas with existing processes and innovate on the job is also a crucial conceptual skill for today's managers. So the first and most basic necessary skills for a working professional: solid competence in the human sphere, in the sphere of work. Such competence requires the following characteristics. So the first one is what we call the human maturity. A person works not only hard and solidly but also efficiently, that is, with professionalism. And work is done in a spirit of service and love for those around us. The worker has to take in and develop the social dimension that the work involves. Here he realizes that work is something that helps improve social conditions generally. It is a source of progress and well-being, according to Elianas of 2003. The working professional also needs relational intelligence, or what we call the RI, in order to connect and interact effectively and respectfully with people and stakeholders from various backgrounds, diverse cultures, and with different interests inside and outside the organization, and to build lasting and trustful relationships. Relational intelligence is based on a combination of emotional intelligence and ethical intelligence. Commercial viability in long-term business success depends on the ability of a firm and their leadership to act responsibly with respect to all stakeholders in business, society, and the environment. So responsibility means to make sure that the company product and service meet the needs of the customers and clients, that they are safe and not harmful, and that real and potential risks are openly and transparently communicated. And that is according to Maak and Please of 2006. Part of responsibility of the worker is to be trustworthy. Employees need to demonstrate that they have integrity, benevolence, and ability in situations where trust is important.
So that will be the end of our lesson for today. The complete information of this lesson is available in LMS, Messenger, and Google platform. Remember to send me also your exit responses in our chat room following the given pattern. 3 things you learned today, 2 things you found interesting with this lecture, and 1 question you still have on your mind regarding this lesson. Rate also your understanding of today's learning by sending us one of the following emojis: satisfied, happy, confused, boring, and sleepy. Good day, and see you again in the next lecture.